Another guy that's proven it even more is on the offensive side of the ball, and of course that's Travis Dye, the fifth leading rusher in the history of Oregon football, takes his talents to USC.
And yeah, this is another home run. And we've talked to our friends over at Ducks Wire, and you want to follow those guys over at Ducks Wire for their coverage of Oregon. But like they saw what Travis Dye is all about, and it's such a natural fit for a Lincoln Riley offense, isn't it? He loves to get the ball to his running backs in open space. Not just on handoffs, but with plenty of passes in the flat. I mean, we've seen Oklahoma do this. Like that's how Oklahoma beat Ohio State in Columbus a few years ago under Baker Mayfield, that getting the running backs into the flat for short passes out in open space, that's something Ohio State did not have an answer for. So Travis Dye, boy, just plug and play. He's going to fit right into the Lincoln Riley offense, sometimes as a setback, taking a handoff, but a lot of the times catching passes out of the backfield. Joe Moorhead used him well at Oregon, in that dual role. So the versatility of Travis Dye, that's really one of his most outstanding features as a running back. That's exactly what Lincoln Riley's looking for as a running back piece at USC.
For the fans, Matt, of course, these transfers are pulling away and tearing away at the fabric of the allegiance and loyalty and the attachment to these players. But when a Spencer Rattler leaves Oklahoma and goes all the way to South Carolina, and the likelihood that those two teams are going to run into each other, or Jamison Williams, he leaves Ohio State, goes to Alabama. Now there's a high likelihood that they would have run into each other, but it didn't happen. Now he's off to the NFL. So that's one thing. But just here in the last couple of days, we see Jermaine Burton leaving a Georgia team that just beat Alabama in the national championship 2 weeks ago, and he's going to be in winter workouts with that Alabama team now, and probably those two are going to get together in a conference championship game. Travis Dye leaving Oregon. No, they're not arch rivals, USC and Oregon, but there's not real good blood between those two programs. They've met in meaningful games over the past decade, and we covered that when the announcement was made. And certainly from the Oregon feedback, it wasn't taken too well that he would leave to go to USC.
Naturally, and I can't help but think, Mark, that if Oregon had hired an offense-first head coach, would Travis Dye have transferred to USC? Because under Mario Cristobal, I mean, like Travis Dye got plenty of work, he got plenty of opportunities, but we can also say that Mario Cristobal, had a limited vision for what Oregon's offense could be, and of course Travis Dye, even though I'm sure he thinks a lot of Joe Moorhead, like I don't know that for a fact, but like Joe Moorhead's really good as an offensive coordinator. We saw him undress Kerry Combs in Ohio State in week 2 in that great performance for Oregon's offense. The fact that Mario Cristobal was still running that ship at Oregon, and the fact that Anthony Brown was the quarterback, I mean, those were two big limitations. So I'm sure that Travis Dye sized up his situation. He sized up the fact that Bo Nix, not an elite quarterback by any stretch, is going to Eugene. I think he looked at Bo Nix, and he looked at, anticipating Caleb Williams coming to USC under Lincoln Riley, and he weighed his options and he said, Oregon's not where I'm going to maximize my talent if I play in Eugene in 2022. And the people at Ducks Wire who I talked to, even before Dye made his decision this past Friday, they said, there was a distinct possibility he was going to transfer out. It's just they were hoping it wasn't going to be USC. But like his one foot was already out the door, from what I heard from Ducks Wire before Friday. And I think that the way Oregon handled its larger situation, the limitations on the Ducks offense in 2021, that shaped Travis Dye's decision. If Oregon really wanted to retain Travis Dye, it needed to get an elite offensive coach, but no, it went with Dan Lanning, and I think that might have been part of the price Oregon had to pay in order to hire Lanning. That Travis Dye was not going to be receptive to that. So I think that's really a key piece of the puzzle that people need to appreciate.